they're like, okay, Jug, how do I get power in Chronicles? All right, there's a lot of aspects of it, but for the most part, some maxes are pretty simple. Some are a little like kind of hidden, but not really. But they're things that everybody can achieve. So like the some that are kind of hidden that people don't know about are like your book. Like if you summon the monsters over and over and over again, they give monsters like that bonus stat. So as long as you're like summoning a whole bunch of times, as long as you own the unit, which you should, because you're gonna get one of each anyways, this will help increase the monster stats passively, which will allow you to get basically more stats. Because if your monsters are getting stronger, then your account's getting stronger. So ideally, this is one of the reasons why you pretty much don't want to hold on to scrolls. It's okay to hold on to scrolls, but at the same time, holding scrolls kind of like taps you. It kind of limits how much power you could eventually get. So for the most part, like just summon everything, get them out. If you want to hold scrolls for banners, that's totally fine. There's nothing against that. But for the most part, if you want to gain power for the most part pretty passively, just summon all your scrolls so that way you're able to get more power passively from the units from the book. This is another, like, most people don't see this because like if you're not summoning up, you'll never know. Another kind of hidden one that people don't know is the monsters. Like when people always ask me like, Jug, why do you level up your monsters to their max levels? The reason why is because this gives you this gives the monster more power, which again gives you more power. And also when you level up your monsters, you get account levels. A lot of people don't know this, but when you level up all your monsters, this helps you gain account level, which goes towards right here. And when you get account level, which is right here, it allows you to get more account skills. And when you gain more account skills, that gets you more power. So that's another thing that gets you more power that people kind of don't know about. So if you have a little bit of excess, like excess potions and things like that, you can like put those into monsters that you aren't using. You don't have to like awaken them or anything like that. Just level them up, and this will allow you to like go here and put the points of the monster skills that can help you again gain more power. If you're asking about like, oh, like what do I put it into? I'm pretty much been using Orbia primarily, so I maxed out this one entirely. I then went into this one just to give my monster a little bit more tankiness. Then I went here once I started building Acelia a bit better. So once Acelia started getting into a better set, I put more focus into this, so that way she can help me DPS, and that way I can clear bosses a little bit faster. And this will also help your boss DPS in general, because if they're doing more damage, they'll kill bosses faster in your Gucci. But that's another little past thing that people don't know about. And now we're going to like the bigger thing. The bigger thing is farming, because it's Summoners War. You gotta farm. So, you know, make sure you're doing, Path of Adventure. Make sure you are, if you're asking like which dungeons are the best to farm, me personally, I think the best are Tear Glands and Lava Cave. Lava Cave is good because they're a good amount of auto attackers. Like if you're using Theomars, things like that, they're also pretty good to use. Like Theomars and Water Amazon are both good to farm here, so that way you can increase their auto attack damage. Also, evasion's pretty good for tanks, because if they're evading, you're not taking damage. So overall, it's pretty good a set to have on tanks that you want to use in like in farming content. And Tear Glands is for your mages, because it scales well with Rage Blade scales with mages entirely. So if you're on Segment, if you're using Acelia, those are really good a chance to whenever like these are bonus, it's a good chance for you to farm this, that way you can increase your power. But for the most part, yeah, farming pretty much increases your power, things like that. I suggest when you're kind of low on power, I suggest going to Subjugation first and increasing your summoner power, because Subjugation is a lot easier to farm than Path of Adventure. Like Subjugation is really, really easy. It's not too hard at all. It doesn't require too much crazy power. As long as you're paying attention and like as long as you have enough power, you'll be fine in Subjugation. It's not that hard at all. Get to 10, get the gear that can make your summoner a lot better. Another thing, if you're Orbia, because again, I'm playing Orbia, I suggest highly doing this on bonus if you don't have the Summoner's Pass, because Fire Orbia is probably the best Orbia right now, especially for dungeon farming. Or Fire Orbia is like really, really good for raid, dungeon farming. PvP is a whole different story, but for PvE stuff, I think Fire Orbia is quite literally the best. The amount she gives to pretty much everything is really, really solid. So if anything, like just farm Subjugation, get the gear to make your monsters better. Then go to Path of Adventure, try to get to these as high as you can, then farm that, improve your runes here and there, and you're Gucci. Another aspect is Kairos, because you're gonna have to farm essence, because essence is pretty important because you got to awaken your monster. You gotta awaken your monsters, because if you're not awakening your monsters, you're missing out on power. So if you need awakening material, this is where you go. Go wherever you need for whichever team you're using. If you're not using Shannon, Coda, and Acelia, which is a very easy team to level up, a team I use, as you can see right here, the team I use. They're very easy to level up and gain power that way. And like I said, another thing is like basically your monsters. Your monsters are pretty important too, because you're gonna have to skill them up. Like there's a reason why I use Shannon, Coda, and Acelia, because they're 3 stars. It's very easy to obtain your skill ups. So all you gotta do is pretty much just summon scrolls, get the skill ups, and then you'll be able to skill them up fully, which again gains you power. Also evolving them to level 70, because 70 is the max level for monsters. So get them to level 70. If you're like, I need Raybamon, a best place to get them early game is right here in Area Dungeon. Area Dungeon is amazing. If you haven't done it, please do it now. It is very, very good. And this whole entire thing gives you 13,000 crystals, more than that actually, and a bunch of Raybamon, a bunch of XP potions. All of this you will need to level your monsters. So if you're struggling to level your monsters, do this now. Stop doing whatever you're doing. Do this now. It's literally it's probably the best thing in the game in my opinion, because it's a bunch of free crystals, and that can help you a lot. Whether you want to summon or if you want to refresh, 13,000 crystals is not something you should pass up. But going back to monsters. The main team you use, the main team I use are these 3. I want to awaken them and power them up. So skilling them up is pretty important because again, gains you power. Evolving to 70, again, gains you power. Then you get to awakening. Awakening is the little bit of the harder part because you have to be able to get Breath of Life and farm their essence. So if you're missing essence, go farm essence. Make sure you're doing that, especially right now because the event's pretty good. When you're able to awaken them, that gives you more. As you see, I'm enhanced Shannon. Boom. That's 813 more power that's on there. And then I can plus 15 her. So once I get 1010 Breath of Life, I'll be able to plus 15 her, and I can get the max power that way. Do that for all of your units, every single one that you're mainly using. I highly suggest 3-star teams because it's a lot easier to do. If you look at the tier list of like the higher power, most of them are using 3-star teams. Unless they're willing and using 5-star teams, they can do it. But for the most part, you'll see a bunch of teams with like 3 stars and 4 stars because again, it's very easy to skill them up. So make sure you're getting the material to skill them up, evolve, and awaken them, so that alone gets you power. Another small little tidbit thing is also also the runes. Blue star runes don't give as much as purple and gold or legendary runes, hero or legendary runes, for obvious reasons, because obviously purple and legendary runes, the stats can be higher than blue and green. So ideally you want to get your monsters on like pretty much like all purple runes, and then eventually all legendary runes, because those gives more stats, which get more power. You can also do little small tidbits, things like little add books and trinkets to your runes to help increase your stats. So you can add whatever stats appropriate, like on damage dealers you might want to add crit, on tanks you want to add HP and defense or evasion or maybe attack speed. Just add the appropriate stats, so that way it helps that monster reach its full potential. So I'm using Acelia. Most of my things are attack and crit rate, or attack. I want to replace the attack speed with crit rate or attack, just something that can help boost her damage, and also help her crit rate. That's why her crit rate's 84%, because I have a lot of extra crit rate on some of my trinkets as well. So that alone gives you more power. And if you want to know where to get those trinkets, you basically want to start leveling up your blacksmith. So you want to make sure you go to right here, profession, start leveling up your blacksmith. As you can see, I'm slacking on this hella hard, but the goal is to basically get this higher so I can start farming these gems, get the material for these gems, so that way I can throw them on the runes, and that way I can get more power that way. But that's pretty much like the way to gain power. And you also want to get to the point where you're farming Foggy or Goats, whichever you prefer. And then once you're farming Foggy and Goats, you're getting that legendary gear. And again, legendary gear gives you the highest potential of power because it's gonna have more stats. So that's something else you want. But that's like the runaround of like how to gain power. There's like some small stuff, and there's some big stuff. But the bigger stuff is quite literally like just farming, awakening your monsters, and that's like the bigger stuff in my opinion. Like you got to start farming, and getting the awakening, the awakenings, the skill ups, that stuff. And that's why, like, again, I highly suggest people make 3-star teams in the beginning, because 5-star monsters are really, 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 really expensive to awaken. So for context, you have Shannon, who plus 15 is 1,110. Then you go to Bastet, that plus 15 is 2,250. So just that alone, like using 3 stars, saves you half of material that you could use. So for literally like the amount it takes to Breath of Life, Bastet, you can Breath of Life 2 units and be at plus 15. Like that's the material you're kind of saving. So that's one thing you should pretty much consider when you're trying to gain power. But for the most part, it's like you gotta remember it's still a summoners war game. You gotta farm. So get in Path of Growth. Get the power, get stronger, get the gear, level up the gear. Go to like I said, go to Tear Glands or Lava Cave. I don't suggest any other dungeon for now, but for right now, Tear Glands and Lava Cave are pretty good. And then Subjugation, like I said, if you make your summoner better, gain more power, and then you're literally Gucci. But if you want to gain power, that is a rundown for power. That's it. That's all you need to know. Just farm the game, get better gear, level up your gear, and that's it. That's how you gain power. That's it.